Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the IHI Call Days, Call 4. My name is Sergio, and I'm going to be moderating today's session on establishing novel approaches to improve clinical trials for rare and ultra-rare diseases. I would like to read an important disclaimer out loud, so please be aware that the call topics are still under consultation with the state's representative group and the Science and Innovation Panel, which are at IHI advisory bodies. All information regarding future IHI call topic is indicative and subject to change until call launch. You will find the final authorized version of the topic text on the Funding and Tenders portal at call launch. Before we start, we are recording this webinar and it will be published on the IHI website and B2Match platform. We will also publish the presentation slides. Without further ado, I will introduce you my colleague Nathalie Signoret, who is a Senior Scientific Officer at IHI and will be presenting this topic. Nathalie.
Thank you very much, Sergio, and good afternoon to all of you. And welcome to this webinar. So today it's important to remember that the webinar will cover first an introduction to the IHI Innovative Health Initiative Program, to the topics that will be presented by the lead industry pre-identified consortium. And in that case, it will be Solange Coriol-Rohou from AstraZeneca, the proposal submission and evaluation, and tips for writing a successful proposal. We will not cover the rules and the procedure since there was already a webinar on the rules and procedure last Monday, and the recording and the slides are available on the IHI website as well as on the B2Match platform. So let's start with a little bit of word about the Innovative Health Initiative. As a reminder, it's a new partnership in health between the European Union, represented by the European Commission, and the Healthcare Industry Association, being COSIR, focusing on medical imaging, radiotherapy, health ICT, and electromedical industries, EFPIA, including Vaccines Europe, covering the pharmaceutical and vaccines industry, Europa Bio, covering the biotechnology sector industry, and MedTech Europe, medical technology industry. Now, we do have some general objectives that are set in our funding legislation, which are very ambitious since we have the objective to turn health research and innovation into real benefits for patients and society, to deliver effective health innovation that cover the entire spectrum of care, meaning from prevention to diagnosis and treatment, particularly in areas where there is an unmet public health need. Finally, we have the objective to make Europe's health industry globally competitive. Now, aside to our funding legislation, the SBA, the Basic Single Act, we do have a strategic research and innovation agenda, which define a little bit more where are the areas and the objective and specific objectives that the partnership should address. And the focus is really on cross-sectoral approaches that will facilitate the creation of new products and services to prevent, intercept, diagnose, treat and manage disease, and foster recovery more efficiently. So the goal are to lay the foundations for development of safer and more effective healthcare products or solutions that respond to unmet public health needs and that can be implemented into healthcare system. Now, it's important to remind that the research supported by the IHI should remain at the pre-competitive level. Now, if you want to read more about our strategic research and innovation agenda, you will find at the bottom of this slides a link to the document available on our website. Now, it's important to remember that this topic that will be presented today is what we call a topic on the two-stage call. So how does it work? Is in the two-stage call, as it says, we have two stages. And the first stage, once the call, of course, has been launched officially, the first stage is really to attract short proposal submission submitted by applicant consortium. Applicant consortium can be composed of academics, hospital, regulators, patient organizations, small and medium-sized enterprise, as well as for-profit legal entities with an annual turnover of less than 500 million euro. Now, at this stage, there will be a competition between the different applicant consortiums submitting their short proposal that will be reviewed by an independent expert panel who will make the evaluation. The first strong proposal will be invited to the second stage, and in this second stage, the applicant consortium, the winner between brackets, will merge with the pre-identified industry consortium in order to prepare the full proposal that will be submitted and again evaluated by an independent expert panel. Now, if everything goes well, we enter into the granting phase where we will prepare the grant agreement, signature of the grant agreement, which is between the coordinator and the IHI GU, as well as the consortium agreement between the partners, and the project can be launched. So now it's a pleasure for me to leave the floor to Solange Coriol-Rouhou from AstraZeneca, who will present us in more detail what is this topic on establishing novel methodological approaches to improve clinical trials for rare and ultra-rare disease. Solange, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Nathalie. Thanks to give me the opportunity to share with you the project we have been working on since last year. This proposed project is all about establishing novel methodological approaches to improve clinical trials for rare and ultra-rare diseases. Next slide, please. Well, it is well known that developing medicines for rare diseases involves complexities and challenges beyond those typically seen for common conditions. These challenges are detailed further on the slide. For most rare diseases, disease etiology, biology, and natural history are insufficiently understood, while there are often no established endpoints for use in clinical trials. Enrolling, engaging, and retaining patients, including patients who may be far apart geographically, is of course an issue when performing such trials. Designing and evaluating clinical trials, including using and identifying relevant outcome measures, are also well-known challenges. And as similarly, ensuring the quality of collected patient data and enabling the reuse of those data, for example, through registries. Underdeveloped and fragmented clinical trial infrastructure for the conduct of clinical studies, including those using advanced therapy medicinal products such as cell and gene therapies. Knowing that all these challenges have to be addressed in an evolving and internationally fragmented global regulatory landscape. And this is why there's a need for holistic and inclusive solution to address the root causes of rare diseases and to unlock science and development capabilities in research and development wide spot areas. Next one. Next one, please. Thank you. This is why to tackle those challenges, there's a need for public-private cross-sector collaboration, since a concerted collaborative effort will be key to deliver approaches acceptable and accessible to all health and research stakeholders and to ensure their implementation across Europe. It is indeed quite important to harness the expertise from all the relevant stakeholders, as mentioned on the slide, namely industry partners from different sectors, For example, the pharma industry, biotech, medical device, diagnostic, data, which is the opportunity for integration of knowledge, technologies, and experience. In addition, clinical centers experienced in conducting trials, as well as academics and SMEs, small and medium enterprises, experienced in managing rare diseases, will be for sure, I guess, interested, as well as patient caregivers and healthcare providers that will be also required in order to ensure the incorporation of their voice and experience in the project. And finally, regulators, policymakers, HTA, health technology assessment expert, and payers would be useful to guide the development and deployment of the playbook, which is our main objective as part of this project. Next one. What about the scope of the project? Our focus will be on pediatric and adult rare diseases, the so-called R&D white spot, known to be representative of key different and complex challenges as mentioned previously. We aim at delivering methodological solutions for innovative clinical trial designs and analysis, including regulatory consideration. This will be the opportunity to use at the best available tools and methods to optimize drug development, such as, for example, basket trials, platform trials, in silico trials, the use of real-world data, digital health technology, quantitative approaches, or trial with remote elements. It will be, of course, important to identify good practices to address knowledge gaps, including collection of natural history data, development of relevant new endpoints, and of patient-reported outcomes. Capacity building for innovative clinical trial conduct and education and training will be also in focus, as well as integration of data from multiple sources with substantial uncertainty requiring detailed simulation so that to build an appropriate data ecosystem, and the development of a virtual platform for knowledge and tool sharing, which could be also used for the deployment of the playbooks. All this will be also in focus. Next one. To fulfill the project objectives, there will be also the need to identify certified, qualified, scientifically and operationally clinical trial sites, especially in the areas of advanced therapy medicinal products, ATMPs, with readily available pools of patients ready to be recruited in trials where appropriate. Finally, once developed and established, the playbooks and related infrastructures will be pressure tested through case studies and modeling using up to 4 selected pediatric rare diseases with at least one ultra-rare disease or cluster of diseases and different types of intervention, at least one being an ATMP. And all this will have to be done wherever possible in collaboration with other existing initiatives, whether completed or still ongoing. This will be the opportunity to leverage key learnings from other IMI or EU-funded projects, to partner with relevant existing initiatives, and also to identify and fill the gaps where needed, and find complementarity synergies with the future rare disease partnership, which is expected to start in Q3 this year. And all this will be key to identify solutions to overcome hurdles, to support the development of innovative and regulatory-grade clinical trials, and to generate the appropriate evidence for regulatory and HTA decision-making. Next one. What about the expected outcome? With a focus on addressing white spots, the following outcomes are expected to be delivered. Playbooks for novel clinical trials for rare diseases, cluster of diseases, which will be also used for education and training with the objective to have them co-created with and validated by regulators, health technology assessment bodies, and patients. As such, these playbooks are expected to include, among others, good practice recommendation for multinational innovative studies, electronic health records, driven registries, and longitudinal natural history studies, but also standardized processes across all disease areas, countries, and sites for fast and reliable feasibility processes, allowing, for example, for early feasibility assessment to support design of feasibility development programs. Effectiveness assessment of optimized clinical trial design as compared to the gold standard clinical trial design for rare diseases. By this, I mean randomized clinical trials with knowing the small population are known to be quite challenging. And of course, in addition, study protocol co-created by expert network with regulators, HTA bodies, patient, and industry. Guidance from expert advice to developer on specific aspect when designing clinical trials. And in addition to this, identification of certified, qualified clinical trial sites, having readily available pools of patients ready to be recruited in trials where appropriate, and those sites working according to quality standards. With a structured and predictable system of referral of patients physically and virtually to expert center. And finally, as mentioned previously, alignment and complementarity with the European Rare Disease Partnership, something which will be key to create synergies and avoid overlaps. Next one, please. We do expect a direct impact not only on patients with rare and ultra-rare diseases, but also on all the stakeholders involved in development. New pathway co-created by all interested parties and new rules, best practices for early engagement to facilitate clinical development in white spot areas. Patients with rare, ultra-rare diseases will directly benefit from cutting-edge clinical development of new health innovation. Patients will have a higher probability of being assigned to active treatment, whether in phase 2 or in phase 3 registrational trials, something which is specifically critical for rare pediatric genetic diseases where the window of therapeutic intervention may be relatively narrow. Continuum of evidence will help accelerate medicines authorization and patient access to treatment and also deployment. Optimize and predictable referral of patient, whether physically or virtually, to expert center, and alignment among healthcare providers, including policymakers, regulators, and HTA bodies. Ultimately, this should help Europe becoming more attractive for the clinical development of medicines for rare, ultra-rare diseases, thanks to the uptake of innovative methodological approaches for conducting successful trials for rare and ultra-rare diseases, something which is quite in line with what Nathalie Seigneuret just mentioned previously. Next one. So what is expected as a contribution from the applicant? Applicants are expected to address project scope, to deliver on the expected outcomes, and make key contribution in synergy with the industry consortium. And this is the reason why applicants should bring together partners with the relevant expertise, as mentioned on the slide, for the development of new endpoints, biomarkers in rare, ultra-rare, and pediatric diseases, for epidemiology and natural history diseases, translational science, data management and standards, for the use of devices, digital health technology and registries, and also having experience in clinical operation and in education and training, and also in a European research network. It is also expected that SMEs, small and medium enterprises with expertise in clinical development in small population, in the use of digital health technology will join, and that finally there will be a broad geographical representation of all the partners within Europe. As you can see, to deliver successfully according to the objective, the project will require a great variety of expertise and resources. As usual, as previously mentioned by Nathalie Seigneuret, the full consortium, once established, will develop the full proposal, including the overall structure of the work plan and of the work packages. Next one. So what is the expected in-kind contribution of the industry consortium? Well, so far, 10 pharma companies are ready to contribute. Areas of expertise and contribution have been identified, knowing that the need to have a great variety of expertise at the table, as shown on the slide, to deliver on the objectives, and in particular, to co-create the playbooks as planned. And indeed, this will be the opportunity to build solution components that are sustainable and scalable, to generate site standards and quality processes, to support build-up and training of research network hubs and expert sites, to engage and raise awareness amongst patient groups, to provide expertise, including regulatory expertise, to help with other experts to build playbook, to provide anonymized data that could be used as control arms, to support virtual trial platform providers directly or indirectly, to support sustainability of existing trial networks and or data sources directly or indirectly, to add centers in building referral networks, to provide support for the conduct of natural history study for rare, ultra-rare diseases, identification of standard of care, patient flow, and development of patient registry, and finally, to seek expert input, advice for rare, ultra-rare diseases. Next one. So what about the budget? So far, the full indicative budget is of 18 million euro. The maximum financial contribution from IHI is up to 8.5 million euros, whereas the indicative in-kind and financial contribution from industry partners is 9.1 million euro. Of course, as usual, cash contribution may be also needed to contribute towards the achievement of the objectives or dissemination, sustainability, or exploitation of the project results. Next one. What about the project duration? So far, we've identified that we will need 60 months, meaning 5 years, to meet the project objectives. However, at this stage, the duration is indicative only since, as it was said, it's a two-stage project. And of course, as usual, when the full public-private consortium will be finally identified, there may be joint agreement on a different duration when the full project proposal will be submitted. And with that said, thanks for your attention and looking forward to answering your question. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Solange, for having going through the topic. Just a point of a reminder for all of you listening to this webinar. If you get question after this webinar, please make sure that you don't contact the topic lead, but that you forward all the questions through the IHI office. And here on this slide, you do have the email address to send your question, and we will be very happy to answer to those questions. Before we move to the question, and I think it's important for you to start gathering any questions you may have, because this is really the opportunity today to have Solange being able to answer this question. Just a couple of words to remind you about the proposal submission and evaluation and how to make sure that you would be successful. So first of all, there is a proposal template that is available already on our website. And it's important to remember that the template has two parts. One part, which is more the administrative data that is entered in a web form through the funding and tenders portal. And then the part B, what we call the more narrative part of the short proposal, that include three sections: excellence, impact, quality, and efficiency of the implementation. What is very important is that on the template itself, there are some instructions, and therefore it's really important that you read them very carefully, as it really help you to make sure that it addresses all the points that will be necessary for the expert to evaluate positively your proposal. There is also an annex that will have to be filled, the participant type. Now, in terms of the evaluation criteria, again, the form is available on our website, and that will be used by the panel of independent experts when reviewing and assessing all the short proposals that have been submitted. It's important to get familiar as well with this document, as it can help you as well to test a little bit your proposal against this criteria. The criteria follow exactly the same structure of the proposal, in a sense that it covers excellence, impact, and quality of the implementation. I won't go through the different sub-criteria, but again, when looking at one of the criteria, the expert will be asked to consider this sub-criteria in order to judge the proposal that they have in front of them. Now, what are the tips for applicants that we can recommend? Is first of all, to make sure to read all the call relevant material, especially the topic text. As you know, so we have done already the publication now of the draft topic, but again, this is not the final one. And once we do have officially the call launch, all the information will be available on their website under Apply for Funding Open Calls. So make sure to really read the final version to make sure not to have any surprise. But at the same time, it's important that you start thinking of building your consortium early, hence the fact of having this webinar done already. It is very important, as you have heard from me at the beginning, from Solange, that of course we are in this public-private partnership, and we have in this two-stage call. So it's always important when you build your consortium, but as well when you prepare your proposal, to think public-private partnership. To ensure that all the information requested in the call text and proposal templates is provided to allow the evaluation experts to easily assess your proposal against the evaluation criteria. It's very important to keep this in mind, because what the experts can only look at what you have submitted and against what is in the topic and evaluate against the evaluation criteria. There is nothing else for them to judge, and they cannot judge on something if it's not written down. What is quite important is that, of course, all or most of our projects have a regulatory relevance, and therefore it's important from early on to consider and plan for the potential regulatory impact of the result, and therefore build a strategy in order to maximize and having the acceptance of the regulatory acceptance of the result to maximize the impact. Now, how to find project partner? This is something that we are asked very often. Obviously, there are no magic secret, but there are tools that can definitely help you. So first, you need to think whether you want to build a consortium or join the consortium. And then in order to find all the partners, we advise that you network with your contacts. That's the first thing, but as well with the participant of this IHI Call Days, and that will be available on the B2 platform. That you use as well this opportunity of this platform in order to find yourself on matchmaking. Use any other platform that existed, like the EU funding and then this portal, as well as get contact with your national contact point and network on social media. So you have all the links on these slides that are available in order for you to help to build and to find relevant partners to join forces and submit a proposal. Now, how to book your meeting in the B2 Match platform. So this slide summarizes the steps, which are easy steps. So make yourself available, look for the partner or the participants organization tab, select the date, the time, attendees. You can have up to 8 per meeting, add message, and then send the meeting request and wait for the reply. But there are more information again on the link that is provided under this slide. And now I think we are arriving at the time of the questions, and therefore this is a very important. Please make sure to put all your questions in the chat, and we will go through as we receive them. So I don't know if we have already received questions, Sergio?
Yes, we have. So the first question is, how is the selection being made? Which group of rare diseases is to be selected as use case for the application? In example, by whom, in which are the criteria?
Well, thank you. This is quite a good question, and I can tell you that among the industry partners, we discussed this quite a lot. And it was decided, and also when discussing further with our IHI colleague, it was decided to leave this, for the time. The full consortium will be created so that we can discuss together and agree together on what's next. Obviously, we do have already, some proposal, but we are ready to have them, being discussed so that, we can move this forward together in full partnership. And of course, there will be the need to understand and to consider what is, already done here and there. And this is something of importance to definitely, identify where are the needs, knowing that this will be the opportunity also as a second objective to pressure test the playbooks that, will be developed. I hope I answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We move on to the next question, which is not really a question, but more of a statement. So the title of the call is Novel Approaches to Improve Clinical Trials, and there is no requirement of experts in innovative clinical trial methodology.
Oh, thanks for the question. And sorry if, this, the title raised, some confusion, knowing that if you remember well from my presentation, I mentioned, all the expertise that will be needed, knowing that there will be the need to have, quite a number of resources and expertise, skill capabilities. Since these days we do have lots of tools and methods at our disposal, and it will be, of course, quite important at the time of designing a study to identify what will be the best tools, methods to use, knowing, of course, the challenges raised by this patient population. What will be those tools and methods to be identified to address the research question? So clearly, it's all about, innovation. It's all about, taking advantage of all what has been done, all what, has been developed from a clinical standpoint. I mentioned, quantitative approaches, modeling and simulation, the use of real-world data, the use of complex trials. So all this, will be considered. So this is why, bringing every expert together at the table will be the opportunity to identify what would be needed in order to better address the design and the performance of the studies in those populations.
Thank you, Solange. Maybe I can just add one point. It's the fact that you may have seen already as well in the draft topic text that, of course, under the applicant consortium, we are saying that we expect to address the scope and deliver on the expected outcomes of the topic and considering the contribution. And therefore, that will require mobilizing some expertise among others. So obviously, it's not an exhaustive list. It's up to each consortium to really consider who should be around the table and in the consortium in order to really address all the objectives of the topic.
Thank you
Very
so
good.
much, Natalie. Indeed, this is quite important, and there's always, the door is open, and of course, it will be all about innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your answers. Then we move on to the next question. So when and where will the composition of the pre-identified industry consortium become available?
So I can answer to this question. So the predefined industry consortium will be available later on in so for sure at the time of the call launch. That's clear. It will be in the topic text. But now we are still in this iterative process to reach the call launch, and there might be some further version that will be published soon or in the couple of weeks, and therefore please stay tuned if you are interested in this topic. Stay tuned on our website because that will become available. But for sure, at the time of the call launch, it will be available.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Next question. Indicative budget is 18 million euros, which means the overall budget of the project, considering European Commission funding plus in-kind contribution from private institutions. However, it does not sum up 18 million. Could you explain more? Thanks.
Well, thanks. So please let me add, something to what Natalie said with regard to the industry consortium. You may remember, of course, I won't, mention any companies, but you may remember that, when I presented the project, I mentioned that so far, we've identified 10 companies that are ready to engage.
So maybe in terms of the budget, I think for the moment, the figures we are presenting are still indicative and subject to change. So maybe it was put as more or less 18 million. So far we have 9.1 coming from the industry partners and 8.5 million from IHI. But again, we are still at this indicative budget. So please make sure when we launch the call to double check all the budget, because that will be available for sure.
Yeah,
Thank you very
indeed.
much.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Indeed, it's an important point. And as you remember, this has, led to quite a great number of discussion. Yeah, but definitely, I can tell you that all my company's colleagues, are ready to engage and to move all this forward. So there's definitely more than a simple interest. There's really a good willingness, and also the willingness to partner with public partners, including all the projects that are currently ongoing, including IHI and IMI projects.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next question.
Next question is, will the call support the conduct of clinical trials?
Oh, thank you. This is quite a good question. In fact, there won't be any trials, performed as part of the project, but clearly through, partnership with, as I mentioned, the rare disease partnership. We expect that we will have opportunity through the objective, which is to pressure test the playbooks when they will be fully developed. Then this will be the opportunity for us, to keep the momentum and of course to provide, our support.
Yeah, I think it's again very important when reading the topics that is currently out, and of course that will be in the final topic text, that per se there is no clinical trial that will be conducted within this project that will result from this call topic. But there will be some case studies to pressure test the books and the development of the solution through this topic.
Very good. Next question is it possible to have an indicative timeline of the stages and overall deadline?
So obviously all that will be clear when we launch the call. We expect to launch the call by the end of July. So again, I think I will recommend you to stay tuned, because all the deadline will be clearly mentioned at that time.
All right. Next question is, some ERNs explicitly exclude pediatric conditions. Should it be understood that at least one ERN involving pediatric disease should be included?
Well, thank you for the question. This is quite a good question. And indeed, we are ready to collaborate. And if possible, as I mentioned, and this is also in the topic text, to collaborate, with existing ERN, where appropriate. So it's quite important, since multi-stakeholder collaboration is more than ever crucial. But in addition, it's quite important to connect the dots and also to consider the big picture for the benefit of all involved in drug development, including, of course, for the benefit of the patient. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Solange. So that's it for the moment. We're going to encourage people to drop their questions on the chat box. In the meantime, I would like to promote a little bit the two left calls that we have left on call 4. Tomorrow we have two info sessions, one at 2 about safe and sustainable by design packages and devices, and another one at 4 about sustainable circular development and manufacture. So yes, add it to your agenda and don't forget to attend. If you have other questions, please, it's the moment to drop it on the chat box. And also, I would like to remind you to go to your marketplace and check the project ideas that are gathering there. Right now, we have 20 projects about this topic. So just go ahead and have a look. And it seems that for the moment, no more. Yes, we just got another one. So will there be a possibility for cooperation with research and development companies, medical device manufacturers, and NGOs working on the detection of rare diseases in the medical device development optimization work package within the scope of the project? Solange?
Yes.
Should I read the question again? So it's,
Yes.
will there be a possibility for cooperation with R&D companies, medical device manufacturers, and NGOs working on the detection of rare diseases in the medical device development optimization work package within the scope of the project?
So maybe I can start answering and then I leave Solange. But again, I think it's important to remember that we have a topic with a scope that needs to be addressed. And of course, we are looking under IHI, we are cross-sectoral, and therefore we should have around the table whoever is important in order to address the topic objectives. So whether it's relevant to have all the listed in the question to address the topic objective, then of course it should be. So again, it's important to read really carefully the objective of the topic in order to have the sense on who should be around the table to address properly this objective, deliver on the expected outcomes, and of course, reach the expected impacts. But maybe Solange, you would like to add something?
Well, thank you so much, Natalie. You nicely detailed, what is expected according to the objective, knowing that it's all about, innovative approaches. So clearly, there's, this will be the opportunity to identify existing tools and methods available that could be of help to facilitate the development in rare diseases. And of course, all what is mentioned is of interest. And as Natalie said, it's definitely, cross collaboration, cross-sectoral collaboration in addition. So definitely the answer is yes. And something, of course, to discuss further at the time, the full consortium will be set up. Thank you.
Thank you. We got a question for Natalie. Did I understand correctly that there will only be one proposal that will proceed to stage 2?
Indeed, that's the setup of this two-stage call, in the sense that we do have the competitions between the proposal at the stage 1, and or the panel of experts will look at them, will score them. There will be a ranking, but it's only the first ranked that will be invited to the second stage and to work with the pre-identify industry consortium in order to build the full consortium and to prepare the full proposal. So you understood it correctly.
Very good. Thank you so much, Natalie. So if we don't get any other questions, well, again, I would like to promote Call 5 that will happen next week. We have a full week with very interesting topics and the most important part, pitching sessions. You will see other companies pitching their project ideas if they're looking for partners, if they're looking for consortium or leading a project. So do not wait and register for those sessions. The list actually is available in the information of the session, and you will see the list of pitchers. So go there, go to your agenda and check it out. Also, really important, the 29th, we will have a financial WebEx or info session that will actually guide you through the different steps to fill in a successful financial proposal. I don't think we have any other questions, but there's still time. So please, if you are curious, this is a great opportunity. You have Solange with you. That is really unusual that you have the chance to talk directly with the topic writers. So go ahead and ask your questions in your chat box. Well, if we do not receive any other questions, then I think we can actually finalize this info session. And we can just only thank you for your attendance, and just to remind you that you can, if you have other questions, you can always address them to applicants@ihi.europa.eu, and we will reply to them as soon as possible. Remember also that we will have the recordings ready both in the IHI website and in the B2Mats platform. So thank you very much, Natalie. Thank you very much, Solange.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And looking forward to the next step. Thank you. Much appreciated.